G'day guys, we're back here at our Chermside West project. It's Friday on the second week and the boys are smashing it out. So we've got our younger crew on this site and they're doing a fantastic job. So I wanted to run you through what we've been doing here over the last 2 weeks in regards to getting this rear extension set up. So one of the first things we do when we start on site is we go around, we set up our profiles. So our profiles are what we mark out the job. So on this particular job, we've run a perimeter profile around the extension area. And then what we do on that is we go around and we mark out where the locations are for all these steel posts. What that does is it makes it very accurate. The profiles are all set up at the same level height, which means the boys can pull string lines across and create grids, which then give us both sides of a post. And then what we do, we've come through and we've set up these hurdles. So most builders don't install their steel posts like this. They simply just bore their holes, pour the concrete and then push the post into the concrete and then use a level to plumb it up, and it's reasonably accurate, but a lot of the time it can end up not quite the correct height, and you've got to check your bearers out to get your heights right on top. By doing it this way, our posts are 100% accurate, which actually saves a lot of time further down the track. But I'll run through exactly what we've done here. So done our profile, pulled our string lines, we've got our location for our post, which has meant we've been able to get a machine in here and bore our pier holes. Then the boys have come through and set up what we call hurdles. So we've got a hurdle on either side of the post, and then so all these cross pieces on the hurdles are all set up at the same height as well and level. And then they come through, and while the post is on the ground, and you'll see here we've actually used all this timber is actually timber that we've pulled out of the demolition, so we're recycling, we're repurposing it to use it during the job. They then install two pieces on either side of the steel posts, and then we cut 12mm booker rod. We got cyclone nuts and washers here, and we actually clamp these two pieces of timber onto the post with a rod either side of it. And the reason we do that, so these posts are all welded up. We got plates on top for our bearers to sit. We got plates on the bottom as per the engineering where it sits in the pier, and we don't want to put holes through the post. So any hole that we put through the post is going to allow moisture to get into that post. And once we've concreted our column in the ground, any moisture that gets in the post is going to sit down inside that post, and obviously eventually over time it's going to rust the post out. So by clamping it with these two pieces of timber, using our pieces of rod and rattling them up, it not only avoids putting any holes in the post, but what it does is the boys can clamp these on to an approximate height, which means the post is hung in the hole. So we've got the correct distance from the bottom of the hole to the bottom of the post, because the engineer will have a specification of how much concrete he wants underneath the post. So these are basically holding the post up, but what it also does is we can pull our lines back through, make sure the post is perfectly square in the directions that we're going to be running our bearers, and we can actually loosen these rods off, do a final check, go around with a laser, get the top of our post perfectly accurate, because our bearers will be running over the tops of these posts. So the last thing we want to be doing is checking out bearers, having bows in our bearers, all those types of things. So we can actually use these rods to plumb our posts, move our posts around, lift it up and down, and then rattle them up and hold the post in its perfect position. So it's a really, really accurate way of doing things, and we do it so often now, the boys are really quick at it. But the other reason we do this, and you'll notice that they're quite high off the ground to our hurdle, is it's really, really important when you concrete any type of column in the ground. You'll see here we've painted all the posts with ominoid or bitumen paint. So that's just an extra protective layer. So that stops moisture getting between the concrete and the steel column, and again rusting the column out. And then the reason this is so high off the ground is we want to mound, when we pour the concrete around these columns, we want that concrete to be mounded up 250 millimeters, because once we've poured these and we pull all these hurdles out, we'll be putting 75 to 100 mil, we'll put weed matting down, and then we'll put 75 to 100 mil of recycled concrete over this area. We do it in all of our undercroft areas, and that minimises maintenance and keeps it nice and clean under here for our clients. So we want this concrete to be finished off 250 mil higher, because we're going to come up 100 mil with our gravel, but then we need a nice mound from the top of our gravel up to the post. and that's to shed any water away. So we're on a slope here, we've got overland flow from our neighbouring properties. It's really, really important whenever you're concreting any type of post in, even a timber fence post, that you mound the concrete and get the water away from sitting around the edges of the post. And again, it's just good, it preserves the steel or the timber, whatever it may be, and make sure it's lasts as long as it's supposed to. So guys, there's a few tips and hints on how the boys do it on our jobs. Really, really fantastic, effective way of installing your posts, and very, very accurate.